We're live. All right. Anybody got eyes on visitors?
Nobody on the YouTube.
Live on the
Not
YouTube?
yet.
I'm gonna refresh.
All right. Well, hi if you've already joined. And thank you for joining. We're Facebook Live too, right?
We're on Facebook Live.
All right.
Currently have two eyes.
Two eyes. Hey, y'all.
You can introduce yourself and
Maybe. All right. We'll get started.
you got seven eyes.
Seven eyes.
Seven
Well, then we
eyes.
can get
What's
started. Hey, everybody. I'm Patrick. I am the CEO here at MakerMade. Thank you all for joining. So we will get started here in the next couple minutes once we've got a few more folks joining in. We'll start out by taking a quick tour of this fabulous new laser module, which the team that's behind the camera right now, y'all can't see, has spent the last many, many months working on to really get this thing buttoned up. One of our objectives for this product launch was to make it the easiest product that anybody using a MakerMade tool has ever used on our behalf. So we've spent a lot of time testing, iterating the mount, trying to make it as simple to swap in and out with a router so that it essentially becomes a 5-minute change from one tool to the other. And we're pretty proud of what we've come up with. So we've tried to hammer down costs as well to make it really accessible for everybody. Honestly, it's been a blast to use too. So I think you're really going to like it. So we're going to make a project here and we're going to talk about the laser, answer your questions. So we'll start by just doing a removal of the mount here. So Drew, could I get you to come up close and show this guy for me?
Yeah.
There we go.
Hello, system. There we go.
Perfect. Okay, y'all. There we go. So, what we've got here is the 71 millimeter clamp. So if you've got a DeWalt 611 or something comparable, you're going to be using this size mount. We've got two separate laser mounts, one made for this 71 millimeter mount and one made for the larger 91 millimeter mount, which is this guy right here. So if you're familiar with this one, this would be your 91 millimeter mount. But they both work pretty much exactly the same way. So it's no different than putting your router in. We wanted to make it just completely pain-free, and if you've done that already, then you know how to take this thing out. So I've just got an Allen key, and I'm just gonna just loosen up my two bolts here.
Want to zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Zoom in for me. And there you go. I mean, that's it, right? So here's the router, the rigid router, goes right back in. So you can swap these guys in and out. The whole point being that you're going to want to make a lot of projects that are a combo laser engraving and then CNC milled to mill it out. So we've got some ideas for some tables. We've got plenty of different projects that we've been working on to really kick the tires on that concept. But again, I mean, there it is. So once you've got your new control board, your board for this laser mounted to the back, it's as easy as that, right? And then I've just got to plug in these two wires right here, and we're good to go. All right, you can back it out.
Sweet.
Great. So yeah,
Yes,
that easy. I'm going to plug this back in real quick. There we go. All right, so we're hooked back in. Fan's going again, so it's ready to rock and roll. So I think what we'll do next is just go ahead and kick off the project. How about that? Because that'll just be going in the background while we're talking. So Joel's going to fire this up for us. This is a very special project because one of our team members on the marketing team, Peyton over here, is about to have a baby. A little baby boy. Woo! And so we're doing a little project for a little fielding forward. So you'll see that being made here. We're doing a little rainbow and clouds, and we're going to do his name below. It's going to take, well, we think it's going to take about 20 minutes. But the point here is that we can fire this thing, and I can talk at the same time. Unlike the CNC, we can just run this thing the whole time. So a lot quieter, obviously. Can't do this with the CNC. But, yeah. Let's see if we can get up close. Let's get a close look at this thing here.
Like really.
Yeah, really get in there. There we go. All right.
It's kind of hard to do with the webcam.
We're tethered, guys. So give us a sec to get this. You all know.
You can look at it through the screen.
You all know our success rate on lives. Yeah. So you can see it right now. So the way we've staged the software for this thing is it is incapable of pulsing the laser without the sled actually moving. So we've tried to bake in some safety features here. See, there you go. It's moving and now it's firing again, right? So that's the whole point, is that it's never going to get to a point where it's just stationary and firing, right? This is the 2.8 watt laser. We had talked originally about launching a 7 watt laser, but it wasn't able to do the cutting at the way we were intending it to do. It wasn't as consistent. So rather than selling a 7 watt for a higher price and having it possibly do what we think it could do, possibly not, we decided to go with the 2.8 watt as an engraving unit, which honestly, in terms of engraving, we did a lot of testing and it's about as visible as the 7 watt. So really not a lot of difference, and we end up saving a good amount of cash versus buying a 7 watt. So we're really proud of it, really excited with it. So yeah, you can see it creates this really interesting purple laser beam, and we use this JTech laser. It's got this UV shield right here, so it's always good to wear eye protection around something like this, but we decided to partner with JTech in order to make sure that we're providing a good quality product that's going to be really safe, really user-friendly as well.
Hey, a couple questions coming in.
Yeah.
Robert says he has an original M2, 2020 M2.
Yep.
And will the laser work with that? Original Z-axis.
Yes, it would. Absolutely, it works with that.
And then Steve is asking if safety glasses are necessary.
Joel, do you know if safety glasses are necessary?
You should wear them, but they're not.
Yeah.
Recommended.
Highly recommended,
Recommended.
not
They
necessary.
come with the kit.
They come with the kit. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Don't look at the laser.
yeah.
Don't look at the sun.
Yeah.
Where can people find this? Is it on our website?
Yeah. So we just launched the webpage. So if you go to makermade.com and then click shop and CNC, it'll be in there. So the price point on the standalone laser is $449 if you've already got the kit. You know, the M2 right now is $1,200, but if you buy them together, it'd be $1,649. But what we're doing right now is we're running a 10% off discount, so you can actually get the M2 with this laser for under $1,500, or about $400 for just the laser itself. You know, we put in, I honestly have no idea how many months of development work, not just into the mount, but into the software, into safety protocols, into the process. Everything about this has just taken so much work. And we we talked about price points. What we wanted to do ultimately was make it really accessible. So we didn't want to make it this like $1,000 laser kit or something. We want to stick to kind of what we do best, or what we strive to do, which is offer really awesome tech at scale at an affordable price. So that's the goal here. So this is cheaper than buying a basic kit today, right? About $400. Free shipping in the US too. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see, one thing this also does is it really demonstrates the accuracy that the M2 and the Maslow system have, right? A lot of times people will knock this kind of system because they don't believe that drive chains like this can carry any amount of accuracy to them, right? But what you're seeing here is really smooth lines, right? Here, I'm going to pull over another one we were working on the other day. So this was a combo project, our first combo project we cut out. It's a charcuterie board. Took about 2 hours to cut out. I did my initials and my wife's initials, Ellen Patrick Kinnaman, and our date that we got married in 2019. You know, really teeny tiny, right? And so let's get a little closer. I mean, we're getting pretty accurate here. We got little birds on it. You know, I just pulled all this off Etsy somewhere and then just kind of modeled it on here and then cut it out with a 1/4" bit. The total project time was a little less than 2 hours. So most of that obviously was engraving, probably about an hour and a half, and then 5 minutes to swap and another, say, 10-15 minutes to just mill it out with a 1/4" bit. But yeah, really fun stuff. Again, I'm looking forward to all the different kinds of things like this that I can make with it. Okay, why don't we look at the components? How about that?
One question.
Yeah.
Alessandro is asking if we have any details as to why the 7-watt was canned, where did it not deliver, are there plans to have it back?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, the 7-watt, the whole point of the 7-watt was to provide the capacity to truly cut through thin material, veneer or 1/4" ply. And do we have that one over there that does? Yeah, we've got it right there. Matt, could you hand me that? So what we were finding, what we were finding is essentially that with specific kinds of ply, yeah, we can definitely clear, right? But when you had more than, say, 3 layers in your ply, which is completely outside of our capacity to control and really difficult to explain, when you're getting up to like 5 ply, it really wasn't able to do the job anymore. So we didn't feel it was really an honest representation to say it's a cutter. And at the price point, it really became, you know, what's the real value? So what we did is we went back and said, okay, well maybe it can engrave more quickly, because right now we're running this project at 20 inches a minute, which, as you probably know, is about half the M2's speed capabilities. We're doing that so that we get really dark lines on here. Co-founder Chris Skiles, he has a great analogy for lasers. The power and speed is really like a garden hose, right? So the higher the pressure and the slower you go, the more saturated it gets, right? So when it comes to the laser, the slower you go and the higher the power, the darker the lines you get. So what we did is we compared the 7-watt speed and darkness, engraving depth, right, to the 2.8-watt. Spent a long time doing that and found they're more or less comparable. There's really not a lot of difference when it comes to engraving. Those two factors combined, we said, look, it's really not going to serve any of the customers anything to say buy a 2 times more expensive 7-watt. So we decided to start with the 2.8. So are we going to continue developing this and hopefully get to a cutter? 100%. That is something we want to do in the future. But this is always going to remain kind of our low-cost model and give you a ton of capabilities. Some of the things that it can do, right? Obviously engrave, but there's lots of creative stories or projects you can create with it. One thing I'm really excited to try is like a paint by number situation. So for certain people, maybe a router is going to be a bit intimidating, right? And we all have seen like what can happen with bit deflection and if you get snagged on something, and that can be a bit intimidating to a lot of people. So instead, you know, if you use, say, this thing for a paint by number situation, this is one I cut out the other day, a giant bald eagle, and then it's got all the lines in here, and then I followed the image that I downloaded this from with the colors and just filled in the colors. And it does a great job of just engraving this out, and then you just essentially trace and do a paint by numbers, and you can create something pretty cool. And then you cut it out again with an 1/8" bit or a 1/4" bit.
Let's bring it a little bit closer. Yeah, let's bring it closer. You can really see the detail on it.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, you can see some of the engraving work under here. And again, I just follow the lines. It's not difficult to do. So it leaves a lot of opportunity. So in that sense, right, you know, like the M2 in its original form is really a tinkerer's product, or the original Maslow, right? It's really for tinkering. And so the M2's goal was to make the Maslow more accessible, faster, just easier to use all around so that more people could get engaged with CNC at scale like this. The laser now is intended to really expand your creative potential with it, right? So we're moving away from that tinkerer's mindset, still a great fun part of this product, but really trying to focus on the creativity that is capable with this new module here. Any questions?
So, yeah, I got a YouTube question. If it can cut Kaizen foam, And I'm not sure about that. It can cut gator foam and several other different types of stuff. It can cut dozens of different type of foam
If we're
materials.
talking
So
the
I'm
mill,
not sure.
like the router, yeah. I mean, we had somebody the other day, I remember on the owners group, just hogging out at a 1/2 inch per pass, and it probably could do more than that. Straight, typically with foam, anything that's not wood, you're going to want to go to straight cut bit, right? But yeah, I would
And
think
then
so.
the laser can cut Depron foam, gator foam, styrene, all kinds of other materials and stuff. So.
And those are the claims from JTEC's site, right? So one caveat there is that JTEC makes several claims about what their lasers can do. All we can say is that we haven't independently verified what the 2.8 specifically can do, but we're going to continue building out those, improving out those different capabilities going forward. There are definitely specific materials you cannot cut using the laser, or do not want to even try to engrave using laser. And that's all listed in the safety guides and everything. So we've done a ton to build out a safety manual here so that you're not going to do anything that's, that's dangerous with this at all, right?
Here, let's get a little bit closer so we can see it.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's look at it. Oh, I think we almost finished. Got a little bit more to do.
Should you show Makerverse, like what it looks like on the computer?
Oh, yeah, we can show Maker.
Components.
Yeah.
Let's go over the components here,
Yeah.
because this will be done here in about 2 minutes.
So we kind
2 or
of
3 minutes here.
loop over there.
Yeah.
So you want to move over there?
Yeah, let's bring it over this way. We can take a look at the components. Okay. All right. So, I don't know if you all recognize it. This is one of those tables that I milled a few months ago with the M2. So here's everything you get in your kit, except for you get one or the other of these two mounts. I've got it in the actual clamps themselves, but you don't get the clamp with it. You should already have that. But this is the 91 and this is the 71, right? These are both developed in-house. Big shout out to Robert, our intern, who spent weeks and weeks and probably months modeling these out and iterating, I don't know, 3 dozen of them. So we now manufacture these in-house around the corner here. So you get your mount, then you've got your e-stop. All right, a lot of y'all have talked about getting an e-stop as well. So this comes with your JTEC kit. Power bank, info sheet, other end of your power bank. Safety glasses here. Little laser sticker you can put on your sled. Always looks really good. This is neat. So your laser needs to be mounted so that it sits exactly 1/8 of an inch off of your work surface. So you just put this little tile under there and then drive your Z-axis down, and then it will rest right there. Once it's there, then you know you're perfectly tuned. The other thing that we made sure to do is this housing gets perfectly cleared through the center of the sled. So there's no chance of your laser running into the sled. Again, that was probably 3 or 4 iterations deep, just making sure that there was never a chance of running into your sled, right? Because we've had Z run away, right? We know about that. All right, here's your control board right here, right? And then you've got a key system here. This just guarantees that, that nobody can turn on the laser who isn't allowed to turn on the laser, right? Again, it's a 2.8 watt. Oop. It's a 2.8 watt, but we still want to be cautious. Your power cords. And then we've got a resistor here that goes in your do board. That's this little guy right here. And then if you've got a 71 millimeter clamp, you're going to need slightly longer bolts for that clamp. So you'll swap out your existing bolts for these new slightly longer ones so that this 71 mil version can fit. Now, we could have done this where we didn't need to use new bolts. The reason we did that is this is what allows you to mount the laser without having to adjust your Z distance from center. Neither of these clamps require you to make any adjustment to the Z in order to make sure that laser is on center. It matches the router bit perfectly. That also took a minute to figure out. So that's what comes in your kit. Yeah. Any other questions here?
So Chris got on and said that the diode
Can you
laser,
speak up? We were hearing people asking.
diode laser,
The diode laser?
Diode.
will cut the Kaizen. I
Okay.
thought it was German, but nope.
We will cut. Okay.
And then Sam Prentice said, "Good work on the stop switch," and Chris said, "The E-stop is only for the laser, not for the CNC."
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so you can see what we're doing here. So we've got about, it says we got about a minute remaining. Could be right.
I don't have to see it.
Yeah, but we're finishing out this cloud here, and then we're going to finish out this balloon on the right, and then we'll be done.
So Martin Cunningham on YouTube's asking, when will it be close to 5-axis?
Close to tap in Skiles on that one. 5-axis?
I think he means for the CNC, like a 5-axis
Yeah, that's the only way I would
to
know
move around. But
5-axis.
if we mounted on the wall, that would be pretty difficult for us to.
Yeah,
for us to
no,
do.
no current plans for anything 5-axis at the moment.
Let's move back over here.
So here.
Finishes up.
All right, yes, it's got one more pass to do here. It's traveling over. I did get the name right, didn't I, baby? Feeling bored. It leaves a very pleasant little singed wood smell. It's kind of nice. If anybody's ever used a Glowforge or any other like 3018 based laser cutting system, a Fox Alien, anything like that, you'll be very familiar. Yeah. All right. So we're all done. So we'll lift it up. Sick. Let's back it up there. There we go. There you go. So I just doodled that before we started this live event. It's 25 inches wide and about 18 inches tall. Yeah, it took about, what, 20 minutes?
Yep.
Not bad, right?
So several questions about how powerful it is.
2.8 watts.
So you can see the 2.8 watt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is, to give you an understanding, this is 100% power at 1/2 speed, 20 inches per minute. So if I were to slow this down to 10, it would get really dark and really sort of a slightly broader scorch. And if I speed it up, it would be a little bit lighter. The other thing that you can do live in Makerverse right now, I believe, Joel, tell me if I'm wrong, is let's say you're kicking off a project and you go, oh man, like for the detail work I'm doing up here, see how that's a little bit extra scorched? I can actually tune down the power of the laser live in Makerverse while it's actively engraving. And then I go, okay, that's the only part maybe I needed that to be at 80% power. Up it right back up, and then we're back to full power again. Again, don't have to pause, don't have to rewrite G-code, anything. So the only thing additional that this requires is we recommend a software called Lightburn. It's, I believe, $40 to download, and that's a lifetime, I don't know. License. Thank you. That's the word. Yeah, exactly. Lifetime license. We've got Lightburn process for building out your G-code file as part of our instructions too. Essentially, it's really just a matter of getting your initial settings down the way you want, and then it's about 1,000 times easier than Easel is. You basically, once you've got your settings configured the way you want, you just drop your SVG in there, and then you click Export G-code. There's really not a lot else to be done with it. So it's really, really user-friendly as well. Back it up. All right.
All right. I was asking if you would use laser Gerbil, which I think you just answered. You don't use that, right?
Again,
GRBL.
It does use Gerbil.
It uses Gerbil. It's Gerbil
It uses
based,
Gerbil.
right?
Laser Gerbil, is that something different or is that the same thing? Okay,
Yeah, that's the same.
got it.
Cool.
And then another Eric said, is that going to set off the sprinklers in my shop?
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, we've run this thing for hours and hours, and the most it does is create like, I mean, you can, it makes some hay, like a slight amount, but you know, it's nothing that's going to set off an alarm. So we anyway, honestly, like again, this is not us saying that. We've confirmed this with JTech as well. When they're using 2.8 watt lasers, we even started out using fume extraction for this, but they even said like you don't need it for the 2.8 watt laser. But we have opportunities for that as well if and when we move to higher power versions as well. But for this, just ambient air is plenty.
Cool. Yeah, Sam
Yeah.
Prentice is asking if it generates any smoke, but
Yeah,
no.
a little bit. I mean, a little bit, but nothing intense, right? Yeah, you wouldn't know in here. I mean, you can smell it a little bit. It smells like a little bit of singed wood, but looking around, you wouldn't be like, wow, it's really smoky in here. There's nothing like that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's honestly like it's really user friendly, and again, how quiet it is a massive win in my book. Again, we're looking at doing, taking some classic paintings and converting them into line images and running them on here. I think access for bringing kids around and stuff is something that's really exciting. It just really does expand the overall capabilities of this tool in a way that we just couldn't do before. So, yeah.
Great.
What else?
Oh, does it engrave anything denser than wood?
Yeah. There's the full list of products that you
I mean,
can
I can-
engrave.
List them off if you want.
Yeah, please do, Drew. I don't wanna-
Yeah, many woods, lots of woods, MDF, paper, cardstock, cork, acrylic, Luxite, plexiglass, polycarbonate sheeting, Darylin, Captain Tape, Mylar, solid styrene, Depron foam, Gator foam, cloth or felt, hemp and cotton, leather, suede,
Oh, leather's cool.
magnetic sheets, and non-chlorine containing rubber, Teflon, and carbon fiber mats and weave that don't have any epoxy on them, and coroplast, corrugated plastic. Yeah, and that's all from the JTEX website,
Right.
so they have all that information.
Yeah, so there you go.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot of things. Yeah, again, so that's a lot of fun, right? Because there's a ton of materials listed there that we don't really talk about with the Maslow or the M2 as well. So again, just broadening the capabilities is the whole goal here. Yeah, and so the question that came up earlier, right? I have the 2020 M2. Can I use this with mine? Absolutely. 100% intended for that. It does require the DO board and the M2. So if you've got an original Maslow, you'd need to get an upgrade kit to go with it. But that's it. Yeah,
Cool. I'm not seeing anything new.
great.
So, Sam Prentice says you're looking really well.
Oh, well, thank you, Sam.
Looking
I got my
fantastic.
tan on. I was at a pool yesterday.
Awesome.
Great. Well, we're really, really excited. Again, so first off, let me just say, like, if you all talk to anybody on this team, they have absolutely put in some intense work. Like, we are a small team, and the fact that we currently have a 32 square foot engraving laser for $1,500 is thanks to the absolute dedication of this tiny team that we've got. And so if you talk to anybody, just, I don't know, tip your hat to them, because they've really put in the hours this summer trying to get this thing ready and accessible so that you're not just, out on your own trying to figure the thing out, right? We really wanted to make this thing that anybody who's used an M2 or used a Maslow could immediately jump into and go, I got this, right? So really proud of this team. They've done a tremendous job, and we're looking forward to launching more projects with it. We're going to be coming out with stuff that you all can download in the marketplace. I'm hopeful that we get a lot of users who start posting laser projects in the marketplace too. That's going to be a lot of fun. Combo projects are going to be killer. I've got a dining room table in mind that I can't wait to get started. It's going to be very similar to the charcuterie board over there that I showed you all. But I'm just excited to get to use it. So and once we finally launch it, we can actually have some fun with it now. Yeah, I guess that's about it.
I think so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for joining. Cool. Any other questions, just hit us up.